What's up guys, it's me Kishin, back at it again with another Fire Force video. But this time we're going to be talking about something special, and that is the new manga that the creator of Soul Eater is making, and potentially the sequel to Soul Eater. Just in case if you guys don't know this already, at the ending of Fire Force we are left with a message. Thank you for reading. Please look forward to Okubo Sensei's next work. Next is Soul World. Now the big question is, what exactly is Soul World? And again, the most obvious answer is the next work that Okubo's making. Whether it might be a manga, anime, I don't know. He said he was retiring from manga, but I cover all those details in another video, and I'd rather not talk about all that stuff again here. So instead, I'd much rather talk about what I want out of Soul World, or what exactly I might think it is, because I have a few ideas on what exactly this thing could possibly be. Obviously, it's going to have a connection to Soul Eater or Fire Force. And with a name like Soul World, it seems like it's going to be grander than any previous manga that he's ever made. Now, before we dive into exactly what this may be, and I know you guys want me to hurry up because some of you, want me to get to the point already. But before we do that, I need to say this because it's very important. Please take everything that I'm saying with a grain of salt, because obviously there's not that much information to go by when it comes to covering this thing. So possibility 1 on what I think Soul World is. So basically at the ending of Fire Force, Soul Eater becomes God and recreates the world, and once he recreates all the world, he adds all of these interesting things to it, such as dragons, giant serpents, and obviously more mythological creatures outside of just those two. And I think there's a possibility that Soul World just might be a direct sequel to Soul Eater, where we're going to see the adventures of Shinra in the Hero Force and everything that happens in between Soul Eater and Fire Force. What I mean by this is we're going to see the world of Fire Force post the ending, and we're going to see that post-ending world of Fire Force develop into Soul Eater. We're going to see Shinra as an adult, and we're most likely going to see the adventure of him and his son. And I could see that transitioning into the development of the Shinigami Legions and the story of Asakura. When it comes to both Soul Eater and Fire Force, there's still a lot of things that we didn't see in terms of the world. And it seems like with the World Hero Force, we'd probably be getting more of that expansiveness that we missed out on with both series. For example, we have weapon meisters, enchanters, sorcerers, and witches, and there's probably even more different types of combat classes that are going to exist inside of Soul World that will most likely get elaborated on. Not only this, but we'd be able to see the development of the Witch Realm, and we'd be able to find out what exactly happened between the witches and Shinigami and their deep-rooted hatred for each other, outside of the fact that the witches basically crave destruction. We'd also be able to see the development of demon weapons with our own eyes, the original experiments between Shinigami and Abon, but not only this, the development of demon tools that they've also made. And while we're on the topic of demon weapons and demon tools, it would be very interesting to see what exactly happened with Brew on Lost Island. And I know you guys are wondering, how exactly would this play out? Me personally, I could see them basically covering post-ending Fire Force stuff, and eventually we get a time skip into Soul Eater 800 years before the current time period that Soul Eater takes place in. And at least to me, this would be a very interesting premise to take it in, because there really seems like there's more to the world of Soul Eater than meets the eye, especially when you look at the types of creatures that Noah pulled out of the Book of Abon, such as the Manticore, Gremlins, Orthrus, a Cyclops, and other creatures along those lines. After all, they do fight these same bizarre creatures in Fire Force at its ending, with the dragon, giant serpent, and, quoting Ogun, a bunch of those monsters scattered everywhere. Honestly, I can go all day with this premise, but I'd rather get on to the next one. Maybe I'll make another video elaborating more on this premise later on in the future. So that's the first thing that I think Soul World could possibly be. The second thing that I think it could be would be a direct sequel to Soul Eater. I don't know if you guys have known this, but the ending to Soul Eater was it was very cliffhangery, because Maka actually promised that she would go back and save Krona. And I could see the premise to Soul World actually being this: Maka and Soul going back to saving Krona and seeing him again. In the words of Maka, she wants everyone in the world to witness her courage, aka per soul resonance. So yeah, if it's not elaborating on the time period between Fire Force and Soul Eater, I could really just see it being a direct sequel to Soul Eater, Soul World. Now, as far as what's going to happen outside of saving Krona, I honestly don't know what I could possibly tell you outside of the Kishin and Krona possibly coming back as villains. After all, he actually says, "You finally believed in others to construct a pillar of strength that would tower over horror. But it is a frail pillar indeed, easily toppled, and once it does, you are done. Madness will take over again. Goodbye until then. You will again hole up with me and coward." And as you can see, the moon is sealed up by black blood, holding the Kishin back. And whenever the moon comes around, it's usually never anything good. Right now in the world of Soul Eater, there's an endless lunar eclipse. But once this black blood seal is then broken, what exactly will happen? At least from what I've seen in Soul Eater and Fire Force, the sun and moon seem to be very symbolic. When the moon arrived in Fire Force, it seemed like the world was going to end and everything was going to shit, until Shinra created a sun that cannot stop smiling. With the moon being blacked out, it seems like we're in an age of order rather than an age of madness. But then that really makes you question, is that really balance at that point? Because order cannot exist without madness, and madness cannot exist without order. If you think it will take long, it will, and there are probably other people out there thinking, now that you mention it, that really was long. But without exception, even after nights like these, morning will always come in the end. Whenever there is despair, there will always be hope. But now, what type of night would we receive after such a long morning? After all, the moon is literally blacked out. It is literally getting eclipsed by the light of the sun. Originally, I thought Fire Force was going to have a very tragic ending, and, I turned out to be wrong on that. But could this possibly happen in Soul World? What type of night would occur from this? I don't know, but the Kishin might come back, and Maka will have to save Krona at some point. Now, before we end this video, I actually have more things to say about Soul World, but I'm going to save that for another video. If you like this video, please let me know in the comment section down below. Which premise do you think is a lot more interesting? Do you think it's a lot more interesting if Soul World turned out to cover the time period between Fire Force and Soul Eater? Or would you be a lot more interested in a direct sequel to Soul Eater? I actually have more to say on this matter. And also, let me know if you guys would like for me to drop another video on what I think about Soul World and what more could there be to it. And with all that being said, I hope you guys have a nice day, and I'll see you guys in the next Fire Force or Soul Eater video.